All right, y'all. Well, welcome to Care Yoga. So my name is Caro. I am subbing in for Adra, who is a dear friend of mine and who has worked with V for a few years. So I'm happy to be here. If you are new to this group, please add your name into the chat. And even if this isn't your first class, I'd love to know where everybody's zooming in from. So if you would like to, you're welcome to add your name and what state you're joining from today, just so we can sort of say a big welcome to everyone. I also wanted to let you all know that today's class is being recorded. And the only reason it's being recorded is so that we can make it available on the GoGo YouTube channel so that you can take the class again at your convenience later, or if you miss the class, you can always go back to the YouTube channel to watch them. So it's not, we're not recording you taking the class, it's just recording me teaching it. We also ask that everyone stay muted during the class, just so that we all have the best audio experience. And then if at the end you have something you want to share about your experience or questions about the class, I'll invite everyone to unmute at the end of our practice together so you can we can have a little chat and sort of hear from everybody about your experience. Okay, so this is a free event, and it's part of the GoGoGrandparent customer series. So just so you're all aware, in case you didn't know, GoGo has a lot of things available
Services.
to you. So yes, services, thanks. So we have
Sure.
rides, meals, grocery delivery, medication delivery, and home services. You're welcome to call the 855 number um, to connect with all of these services. Other things to keep in mind is you can receive a $10 credit whenever you refer a friend to GoGo. So you have a little code at the bottom of your GoGo receipt that you can use to refer a friend, and then you get $10 in credit, and they also get $10 in credit. So that's just a little win-win um, offer that we have going on right now. Um, we'd really love for everyone to join the Facebook group. So what this will allow you to do is connect to other GoGo community members and learn about events in your area. And it's just a nice way to stay connected. And I've heard that some people have, met people who live where they live and sort of made some in real life friends from the online community. All right, here we go. Okay, so here I am. There's my picture. I'm so excited to lead this practice today. Our class will be about 40 minutes long, and then at the end, we'll have about 10 minutes for, um, questions or feedback. I'd just love to hear from you. Um, Something I'd love for you to notice as we move through our practice together is sort of how you're feeling as you're moving, and maybe how the sensations in your body might shift as we go through our practice, and also maybe how your mood might shift as we go through our practice together, and sort of just kind of keeping a little bit of awareness around that today. Um, One thing I do want to make note of is that we do need a chair for chair yoga. So I recommend not using a chair that has wheels because that's not super steady. So I don't know if you can see my chair back there, but it's just your kind of basic office chair. And the reason we don't want wheels is so that you have a lot of support as we're moving around. Um, let's see, I think that might be it. Yeah, let's move. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. Oh, wow, there's so many friends. It's a great big group. Hi, Judy from Rockville, Maryland. Thanks for writing that in. I'm in Austin, Texas. So if ever anybody wants to come visit the Lone Star State, we could do some in-person go-go yoga. All right, let me just spotlight myself so y'all can see me, or maybe V can help me with that. Let's see. There I am. Great. Okay. Uh, so let me just make sure you can see the whole chair. Okay. And then I think I can see Bertha and Jimmy and Linda and Susan. So once I get back there, If y'all could give a thumbs up if you can still hear me, because I'm using these new headphones today. I want to make sure everybody can hear me. We're good? Okay, great. Thanks. All right. So before we begin, I just want to remind each and every one of you and myself that this next 40 minutes of our practice is your time, right? It's your experience. You are much more of an expert in your body than I am. So as we're moving through our practice, if you notice that something's feeling a little weird, or maybe you're just not enjoying the movement, you can always stop and take a moment or change the way that you're moving. You don't necessarily have to do exactly what I'm doing. My job is just to offer you some ideas and suggestions of how you could move if you want to. And then from there, you get to choose what feels good today. So all of that said, if you want to, you could begin your practice by sort of sitting back into the chair you've chosen today. So that may feel like leaning back into the support of your chair. It may be that your legs get a little bit more comfortable. It's possible that you rest your hands in a way that your fingers get to relax a bit. You may find that your belly softens. So at the very beginning of our practice here, we're not sucking in our gut. We're just letting our belly get big. One of my favorite yoga teachers calls this our Buddha belly. So just letting it get as big as it wants to be. Maybe your shoulders melt down. Maybe your eyes close. As we take a moment to arrive to our practice, could sort of think about this as a moment to let our mind and our thoughts catch up to our body, so that we are sort of physically sitting wherever we're sitting. And then we let our thoughts arrive into this moment as well. So as much as possible, letting go of everything that came before this moment. As much as possible, letting go of one of our concerns or expectations of what happens after this moment, so that we can be here in the present together. And one way to connect to the present moment is to notice that you are breathing. And sometimes just by noticing that we're breathing, it's possible that your breath will start to deepen in some way, maybe becoming more full. Or more complete. You're welcome to try breathing in through your nose, maybe feeling your chest lift or your belly expand. And then you could try slowly exhaling or breathing out through your mouth. Maybe taking a few more deep breaths wherever you are in this moment. Now, if you want to, you could stay right where you are for the next 40 minutes or so, just focusing on your breath. And that would be a complete yoga practice. But if you'd like something a little less challenging, maybe starting to find some movement in your body. So that could be blinking your eyes open if they were closed. Maybe any kind of wiggling in your fingers, or maybe circling your wrists. It's possible that you choose to extend your legs to take a stretch. Maybe your ankles want to circle. You may find that you want to extend your arms as well, taking a great big stretch as if we just woke up this morning. And exhaling to lower your arms and legs, maybe planting your feet. Now, you may find it useful here to scoot slightly forward so that we have some space between our back and our chair. Planting your feet in the ground in a way that feels stable for you. And if you'd like, you could start to lean or rock from side to side. So maybe leaning, rocking from right to left. And this might start to bring the beginnings of a stretch into the side of your body. And you could continue side to side, or maybe that side to side movement starts to become more of a circle. And what that may bring is a bit of stretching into our lower back, our hips. You could try both directions if you want to. Noticing how you're breathing as you're moving. As we take these circles, changing directions a few times, just noticing and kind of checking in with how our lower back and our hips are feeling. You can kind of use that information to calibrate the size and speed of your movement throughout the rest of our practice. At any point here, if you want, you could start to lean forward any amount. Now, I'm just going to turn to the side so you can sort of see what I'm doing here. As we lean forward, maybe you bring your hands towards your hips. And as you do that, your elbows may draw back. That may bring a lift in your heart. So a little bit of an arch, a big belly here, breathing in. As we exhale, you could draw your belly button into your spine. Maybe your fingers come towards your knees. Maybe you round and rock back. So that as we inhale, we're sort of lifting through our heart, maybe leaning forward. As you exhale, there could be some rounding, maybe bowing your head, rocking back. Now, sometimes this is called a spinal wave. Other times it's called cat and cow. Find that big cow belly as we come forward and then sort of rounding our back like a cat as we rock back to breathe out. This is starting to bring that warming up feeling, maybe more towards your mid back between your shoulder blades or your upper back. This is a movement you can come back to at any point during our practice, just checking in with your whole spine from your tailbone up to your neck. When you feel ready for something a little bit different, you could lean forward and then bring your elbows to your knees. So this is our first forward fold. Sometimes it can feel nice to pause here for a moment. You may feel some lengthening down in your lower back. A little bit of leaning or swaying side to side may feel inviting, might feel sort of instinctive in this moment. If you'd like to start exploring the beginnings of a spinal twist, one way to do that is to maybe drop your left shoulder forwards and down. Now, as you do that, you may find it interesting to look past your right shoulder behind you. And then we could try that on the other side. So bringing your right shoulder forwards and down, maybe you look to the left and sort of moving from side to side, listening into how this might feel in your upper back, getting maybe a little bit of a twist, letting our spine move in a way maybe we haven't let it move today. At some point, if you choose to, you could come through what feels like center in your forward fold and breathe in. And as we exhale, maybe coming further forward. So it's possible that you want to bring your hands to your ankles or your feet or the ground between your feet. You're also welcome to bring your elbows back to your knees at any point if that feels more supportive. Now, one option here is to bow your head forward. So that may bring a kind of softening into some of the muscles and connective tissues of our neck and shoulders. You could shake your head softly no from side to side. And again, that kind of swaying or leaning side to side is available. So if you want to, you could sort of rock from side to side in your forward fold, almost like you're kind of moving your head towards one leg and then over towards the other leg. I mean, you could stay in this forward fold for as long as you want. But when you're ready to come out of it, I'd love to invite you to move as slowly as we can. So we want to start by bringing our elbows to our knees. Maybe you look forward and then slowly lifting up. So anytime our head has been below our heart like that, we want to take our time to lift out of it, maybe pushing into your knees to lift all the way back up through neutral, possibly reaching up to breathe in. On your exhale, if you want, you could bend one elbow, reaching up with one arm, and then we could inhale to swap that out. So we're starting to get some movement into our shoulders here, our arms. If your hands are asking you for movement, you could sort of imagine grasping something in the sky and pulling it down towards you. I don't know why I always picture sort of a big rope or a fishing net that I'm pulling down from the sky. Whatever visual imagery is helpful for you today. We're really looking for some movement in our fingers, but also that nice side stretch, maybe some space into our armpit, our upper back. Breathing as you move from side to side. Whenever you feel ready, you have the option of reaching both arms up, breathing in. And on your exhale, maybe cactusing or goal posting your arms. As we inhale, we could reach right back up, this time maybe lifting your heels off of the ground. As you exhale, bending your elbows, maybe landing your heels and lifting your toes, so that we're inhaling to reach up and exhaling to bend at the elbows. Now, there's a lot of moving parts here. It's a little bit like rubbing our belly and patting our head. If you want to add in some variation, maybe as you inhale, you're reaching up. And as you exhale, you could make gentle fists and sort of pull the air down. That's one option that might feel interesting today. If you'd like a little bit of a different sensation, you could inhale to reach up. And as you exhale, turn your palms away from you, bending at the elbow, drawing your elbow down and back. Inhaling, maybe reaching up, your palms facing each other. Exhaling, maybe your palms face away to come down. So lots of different variations. You could try a few. You may start to feel some muscle dynamics here in your arms or your shoulders. We'll give our arms a little rest here. So maybe reaching up to breathe in, exhaling your arms wide. Inhaling here and exhaling to float your arms down. Now, I find it helpful just to shake out a little bit here. You could try that as well. You could also circle your wrists a few times. Then we'll start to bring our hands to rest on our legs and bring our awareness back down into our feet. So possibly lifting one heel and then the other. Depending on how your feet are feeling today, you may find it useful just to kind of bounce out your heels, so sort of tapping one heel and then the other. And then we'll lift both of our heels, breathing in. As you exhale, maybe tapping your heels to the side, and then continuing to breathe as we sort of shift our heels from side to side. I'm noticing how that might feel, maybe down into your ankle, maybe your calf muscle. Remembering that at any point along the way here, you can choose to move in a different way, at a different pace, or you can opt out of the movement entirely. It all depends on what feels good for your body today. Let's go ahead and bring our heels towards what feels like center. And if you'd like to, maybe starting to lift your right foot off of the ground. So you could use your hands here to assist breathing in. And as you exhale, we could lower back down. Maybe trying that on the left as well. Inhaling to lift up and exhaling back down. And as you continue from side to side, sort of noticing how this is feeling, where you may be experiencing sensation or maybe some muscle dynamics. You're more than welcome to keep moving from side to side. But at some point, you may find that you want a different sensation. So one way to experience something a little different would be to lift up your right foot, and then we're going to pause here. You could hold on to the front of your shin. You could hold on to your leg. Exploring drawing your knee closer to your body in a way that feels useful to you. Now I'm going to turn to the side a little bit so you can sort of get a sense. If you find that you're rounding towards your knee, I'd love to invite you to lift and lengthen to your full spinal height as you breathe in. And as we exhale, maybe you start to circle your ankle, trying both directions. Listening into your ankle, snap, crackle, pops are pretty normal here. Maybe you point and flex your foot. And then if you want to, you could flex your right foot and we'll start to extend our leg forward, slowly lowering your heel until it connects to the ground. I'm just going to scoot back so you can properly see my feet in case that's useful for you. Now, I find it helpful to have my foot flexed. You could also lower your toes if that feels more comfortable. Your leg may want to be straight. You could also give a bend to your knee. Whatever you've chosen here, maybe on your inhale, you take that full spinal height, so lifting, lengthening up. And then on your exhale, possibly leaning forward any amount. So that with each breath in, we're sort of lifting up slightly. And with each breath out, maybe you're leaning forward. And as you continue to lift and lower, you may notice all sorts of lengthening, stretching feelings in the back of your right leg. You may also feel a pretty significant stretch here in your lower back. We want to stay within a stretch that feels useful and interesting for you. So we don't want to move into anything that feels pinchy or painful. Just looking for a stretch, that might feel good or interesting to you, having some curiosity about that sensation you're noticing. Now, you could stay here for as long as you want, lifting and lowering. When you're ready to come out of this stretch, lifting through your heart, rising up, maybe you choose to reach overhead and breathe in. On your exhale, you could bring your palms together to your heart. And as we inhale, diving upward into the sky. And as you exhale, sweeping your arms slightly back and down. Maybe a little shakeout. We'll go ahead and plant our right foot and maybe take a little windshield wiper movement side to side. So this may bring a little bit of a stretch into our hip joints. You may notice this stretch down towards your ankles. And then we could start to slow this down. So we're really rolling from the outer edge of our feet to the inner edge of our feet, sort of noticing how our ankles are feeling today. Before we take that whole sequence on the other side, you have the option of heel toeing your feet out to a wider stance. You may find it helpful here to let your toes sort of point out away from you. You could rest your hands on your knees and begin to lean side to side. So it's the same movement we started our practice with, but it might feel a little different with this wider stance and after we've warmed up a bit. You may notice you have more range of motion. You may also notice that it feels exactly the same. Possibly starting to use the support of your forearms as you lean side to side. And there's an option to add a little bit of a spinal twist. So one way to do that, as you lean over to the left, you could pause here and imagine a kind of rotation open. So you're sort of looking up towards the sky, breathing in. As you exhale, you could try that on the other side. Left, breathing in. And then exhaling to the other side. So this movement can sort of follow your own pace. Each time you lean to the left, you could look up and to the right. And each time you lean to the right, you could look up and to the left. It's possible that your arms are asking you for more movement here. It's perfectly fine to start adding in kind of sweeping overhead of one arm and then the other. And that may bring all sorts of lengthening into the side of your body. It's almost like we're adding more space in between each of our ribs, giving our body more space to breathe deeply. This is a movement I like to come back to a few times a day just to feel more open and spacious. At any point here, if you want to, you could come through center, maybe reaching up to breathe in. And as we exhale, perhaps pulling down through the air in front of you. We'll inhale, scooping, lifting up. Exhaling, pulling down. But maybe you take that one more time, reaching, scooping up. And exhaling to pull down. As you rest your hands on your knees, we're going to keep this wide stance, possibly turning your toes forward so we can take some great big torso circles. So again, this is really similar to those circles we found at the beginning of our practice, but with this wider stance, you may have more range of motion. It's possible that you'll notice your lower back feels a little bit more warmed up. Movement may feel more fluid. I'd love to invite you to change directions a few times, really listening into your lower back and your hips. Possibly inhaling for a full circle and exhaling for a full circle. trying that out in both directions if you want. We'll start to come forward into this wide forward fold. So maybe your hands are on your knees, maybe your elbows are on your knees. It's possible that you choose to exhale your way further forward. Now, maybe your hands come to your feet or your ankles, or your fingertips could come to the ground between your feet. With this wide stance, I'd love to invite you to explore bowing your head forward. So it may feel like your neck is letting go of the weight of your head. Our neck has to carry our head all day long. So just giving it a little pause. Maybe you sway from side to side, noticing how you're breathing here. If you're enjoying sort of being upside down here for a moment, you could stay here for longer. Just remembering that we really want to take our time to come out of any kind of inversion like this where our head is below our heart. So taking your time, maybe you start to bring your hands to your knees, starting by looking forward and then gently lifting back towards what feels like neutral for you. It may be that you choose to reach up and breathe in and exhale your hands together to your heart, possibly heel toeing your feet back towards what feels like neutral. And then if you want to, you could interlace your fingers. Now, it may feel interesting to give a little bit of a kind of circular, kind of snaky movement here to our interlaced hands. So we're listening into our wrist joints here. You could continue with this movement, or if you're interested in more of a stretch into your wrists, you could keep your fingers interlaced and draw your elbows away from each other. And maybe start to lift one wrist and then the other. And that may bring a stretch sort of in the back of your hand, at the base of your hand, at the base of your palm. For a little bit of a different sensation, you could keep your fingers interlaced and turn your palms to face your body. So then we can sort of send one wrist forward and then the other. That may change the sensation as well. Again, each of us staying within what feels like a good stretch for our wrists. We're just looking for interesting sensations, letting our body move in a way that maybe we haven't let it move today. And one last way you could explore movement here with our hands together, our fingers interlaced, would be to turn your palms towards you with your fingers interlaced and then maybe float your hands overhead. Now, this may be where you want to stay. This is a pretty intense shoulder stretch if you'd like to pause here, or you could also start to circle your interlaced hands overhead. One of my favorite yoga teachers who always puts a smile on my face calls this polishing our halo. So if you're feeling rather angelic today, this may be your move. Maybe trying both directions. We're listening into our shoulders, our upper back, making sure we're sitting at our full spinal height, as tall as feels comfortable. And then we'll start to release our arms down, maybe a circle in your wrist. You could also flick through the air with your fingers, bringing your arms all the way down, maybe shaking out a little bit. We'll rest our hands on our legs. And then if you want to, you could come right back to lifting one foot and then the other. Noticing how you're breathing, possibly inhaling a little slower, exhaling a little longer. And then the next time that you are lifting your left foot, if you'd like to, you could pause with your foot lifted. Now, maybe you hold on to the front of your shin or your leg. It may be that you decide to sit a little taller, breathing in. And as we exhale, maybe start to circle your ankle, possibly pointing and flexing your foot, really listening into our ankle joint here, noticing how that feels today. You could continue this movement in your ankle, or maybe you decide to flex your foot and extend your leg forward in some way. slowly lowering until you can land your heel. Now, remembering that you have all sorts of options here. If your toes want to lower, that may feel better today. You could keep your foot flexed and have a bend in your knee, or maybe your leg is straight. Sometimes scooting forward can feel useful just so our chair doesn't kind of cut into the back of our leg. Wherever you are, if you want to, you could inhale to sit taller, breathing. And as we exhale, maybe leaning forward any amount. Now, you have the option to stay here. So sometimes this is called a static stretch when we sort of hold a stretch for a long time. You're welcome to stay. If you'd prefer movement, maybe lifting as you breathe in. And then as you exhale, you could come back forward. So it kind of depends on the day. Sometimes I prefer movement in my stretches. Other times I prefer sort of coming into the stretch and staying for a while. You may find that's the same in your experience as well. Maybe noticing some significant stretching feelings in the back of your left leg. Whenever you feel ready, you could start to lift out of this stretch. Maybe you reach up to breathe in. Exhaling your hands together to your heart. Inhaling, diving upward, and exhaling your arms slightly back and down, really opening across our shoulders. We'll start to plant our feet and take that same side to side movement we found earlier. That's quite a bit of stretching the back of our legs. So we may find that our knees are asking us for some soft movement. You could bring your knees towards stillness and gently lift your right foot off of the ground so that your foot can sort of swing forwards and back. What we're looking for is a kind of softening spaciousness in our knee joint. You could continue forwards and back. You could also take more of a circular movement. And then if your body is asking you for a hip stretch today, there's a couple ways to do that. You could start to flex your right foot and guide your right ankle to your left knee. Now, this may feel like a good stretch today. You could stay here. If for whatever reason this is feeling pinchy or uncomfortable, you can also cross your ankles. So flexing your right foot and sort of crossing it on top of your left foot. And our knee might open to the side. If neither of those is feeling good, you can also bring the outer edge of your right foot to the ground. And if that still doesn't feel good today, go ahead and plant your feet, and then we'll come forward into a gentle forward fold. So inhaling to lift up, and as you exhale, maybe coming forward. Now, forward movement might increase the stretch sensation wherever we are. Let's breathe in and breathe out. As you inhale, making your way back up towards a neutral spine, and we'll exhale to uncross our feet, maybe bouncing out a little bit in your heels, sort of softening. We'll just take that on the other side. So if you'd like to, you could lift your left leg any amount so that we can send our left foot forwards and back. So this knee might feel a little different than the other side, or it may feel very different than the other side, or it may feel exactly the same. Kind of noticing what you notice here. You could take those circular movements, you could continue forwards and back. If you like that hip stretch, one way to get there is to flex your left foot and maybe guide your ankle up to your knee. Now, some days this may feel like the stretch you need. Other days you may prefer to sort of cross at the ankle or guide the outer edge of your foot to the ground or plant your feet. Whichever one you have chosen on this side, maybe we lift and lengthen, breathing in. And as you exhale, you could lean forward any amount. Breathing in here and breathing out. And we'll inhale our way back up towards neutral, exhaling to uncross your ankles and bounce out your heels. Now, something you may find useful here is to inhale to lift both of your heels off of the ground. Then we'll take a little bit of circular movement down in our heels, really articulating through your feet, noticing sensation in your toes, the soles of your feet, your ankles, trying both directions. And we'll start to plant our heels when you're ready, inhaling to your full spinal height as you breathe in. On your exhale, you could slide your left hand towards your left hip so that we start to open to the left. So we're coming into a bit of a twist here. Then we'll inhale our way over to the other side. So bringing your right hand towards your right hip, turning to the right. And then continuing from side to side, you may notice that it's useful to let your focus or your head follow the movement of your torso. So as you're opening to the right, you could sort of look to the right or look behind you to the right. And as you're opening to the left, you look to the left or behind you to the left. And continuing from side to side. You may feel some sensation here, not only in your back, sort of in your mid back below your ribs, but maybe also down into your hip joints. The next time you're opening to the left, we could pause here. Maybe your right hand comes across to your left knee, and then your left hand can either rest on the feet of your chair, or if you'd like to, you could thread your forearm behind your back, bending at the elbow. I'll turn kind of so you can kind of see what that looks like. If that feels uncomfortable today, going ahead and bringing your hand back to your chair. Wherever we are, let's inhale, sitting a little taller, breathing in. And exhale here. We're going to pause here for a moment. You're welcome to try turning your head from side to side. But staying well within a gentle range of motion, noticing how the movement of your head may change the movement of your body or change the sensation of your twist. Let's inhale to unwind back through center, and we'll exhale over to the other side. So your left hand could come over to your right knee, and then your right arm sort of gets to decide what feels good. You could rest on your chair. You could thread your forearm behind your back. You may find a different spot for your right hand that feels supportive today. If the chair you're sitting in has arms, you may want to rest your right hand on the arm of your chair. Let's imagine sitting as tall as feels comfortable. So lifting and lengthening, breathing in, exhaling here. And then if you want to, you have that option of turning your head from side to side, sort of looking from right to left, noticing sensation, the back of your neck. And we're going ahead and inhale our way back to center, breathing in, and exhale your arms down, possibly sweeping your arms forwards and back. Now, if your chair has arms on it, this might be a little tricky. So just being gentle, maybe your arms come a little further out to the side so you don't bonk into your furniture. We're going to follow our own momentum. So using your inhale to sweep your arms all the way up. And as you exhale, we're going to wiggle our fingers, playing that invisible grand piano, continuing to breathe as your arms slowly come down, intentionally finding your full range of motion in your fingers, really exploring your full movement here all the way down. Resting your hands on your legs so you can begin to circle your shoulders, trying out both directions. Now I'm going to offer a few movements that are standing with the support of your chair. You are also welcome to remain seated, and I'll kind of offer both options so you can see what feels better for you. If you want to remain seated, you're welcome to. If you're feeling that you want to come to standing, maybe drawing your feet in, reaching forward, rising to standing, maybe reaching up to breathe in. And wherever we are, we're going to exhale our arms down. I'd love to invite you to move behind your chair if that's available. You can use the support of your chair for balance. Just going to move my chair a little forward. Now, if you are seated, I'd love to invite you to come back to that side to side movement we found. If you're standing, using the support of your chair, we'll start to send our hips from right to left. Now, you may find that you don't want to use your chair. That's perfectly fine. You are the expert on how balanced you feel in this moment. You may find you want to bring your hands to your hips. Now we're going to continue side to side, or if you're seated, you could start to find your torso circles. And if you're standing, maybe your torso circles start to and have become hip circles as well. So that might bring the beginnings of a stretch into the back of our legs, checking in with our hamstrings. The more we can lengthen the back of our legs, the more our lower back will thank us, in the same way that strengthening our core also supports our lower back. It's all connected. Let's come through what feels like center for you, maybe after you've tried both directions. I'm going to show us what we're going to do seated, and then I'll come back to standing. So if you're seated, as we inhale, you could lift your heels off of the ground, bringing your arms down. And as you lower your heels, you could reach forward, leaning forward as well. So lifting your heels to come up and exhaling to come forward. If you're standing, it's a really similar movement. So you could start with the use of your chair, inhaling to lift your heels any amount off the ground. And as you exhale, you could land your heels, bending your knees, drawing your hips back to sit in an invisible chair, and then inhaling to rise up and exhaling down. If your arms are asking you for movement, you could bring one arm down as you rise up and maybe reach one arm overhead as you come down into that invisible chair. I'm probably going to continue just with one arm. If you're feeling really steady with this movement, you may find that you want to experiment with both arms. That is entirely up to you. Now, the next time that we're rising up, if you'd like to, you could take a moment to balance. So possibly lifting our heels off of the ground. If your hands are holding your chair, just make sure we're not white knuckling our chair. So softening our fingers a little bit, breathing in. As you exhale, landing your heels if they were lifted, maybe releasing your hands down, holding the chair for support as we send our hips side to side. And we're going to come into what's sometimes called supported downward facing dog. So I'll show you how to do that standing, and then I'll sit down to show you a seated version as well. So the standing version, we're going to keep our hands firmly on our chair and start to step our feet back. As we do that, we may find that we bend at the waist. We're looking for a nice stretch in the back of our legs, actively pulling your hips back, maybe looking at the ground. Your legs could be straight. You could also give a little bend to your knees or lift one heel and then the other. If you're seated, one way to find a similar sensation is to step your feet slightly forward and extend your arms forward. And we'll explore sort of sweeping our arms forwards and back. And wherever you are in this moment, letting yourself breathe 2 full cycles of breath. Slowly looking forward and lifting through your heart as you begin to gently walk your feet in beneath your shoulders. Whether we are seated or standing, I'd love to invite you to reach up and breathe in and exhale your palms to face forward. Maybe you widen your stance in some way. Maybe you begin to take up as much space as you can, becoming unapologetically large in this moment, opening through your face. Let's breathe in and exhale to release our arms down. Maybe a little shake out. And if you'd like to, we could start to make our way back in front of our chair. Now, if you're standing, you may find that it feels interesting to build what's called mountain form, planting your feet into the ground and softening our kneecaps so we're not locking our knees. If you're seated in this moment, maybe exploring planting your feet beneath your heels, releasing your arms down, planting your feet beneath your knees, and releasing your arms down. If we're standing, I'd love to invite you to reach forward. In fact, wherever you are in this moment, you could reach up and breathe in. On our exhale, we're going to bend our knees and lean forward, reaching our arms forward, hovering our hips above our chair as if we were about to sit down, but we're not going to. We're going to rise back up, breathing in. And this time, as we exhale, go ahead and lower down, sitting in your chair. We're going to sweep our arms forward and then inhale to scoop and lift up. Exhaling your arms slightly back and down as we rest our hands on our knees, planting your feet in a way that feels comfortable for your body, and starting to close our practice the same way we began, leaning or rocking side to side. That side to side movement may start to become more of a circle, trying out both directions. And then if you want to, you could start to come through what feels like center for you, using the strength of your left hand to give a little bit of a massage or pressure to the palm of your right hand. So there's a couple different pressure points here you could look for. One of them is finding some up and down pressure sort of below your pinky. There's that kind of muscle group right underneath your pinky, sort of from the base of your pinky down to the base of your palm. Another spot you could focus on would be sort of cluster of muscles between your index and your thumb, and you could give a little bit of pressure there. And then maybe giving a little bit of individual attention to each finger. And the more we can give pressure like this to each finger, we're encouraging not only sensation, nerve health, circulation, mobility. We'll try that on the other side as well. So using the strength of your right hand, maybe giving a little bit of pressure to the palm of your left hand. Maybe that kind of up and down pressure below your pinky, possibly a little bit pressure in between your index and your thumb, that big cluster of muscles, and then maybe each individual finger. Noticing more sensation in each finger that we give attention to. If you'd like to, you could bring your palms together to create a little bit of warmth. And once you feel that heat between your hands, possibly sharing that heat with your own face or your heart, you could place your hands over your face, give a little bit of massage to your forehead, your temples, your cheeks. And then we'll take a deep breath in, reaching all the way up. Exhaling your hands together to your heart. Inhaling, diving upward, and exhaling your arms slowly back and down. I'd love to invite you to get as comfortable as you can possibly be in your chair or wherever you're seated. Taking any last little movements you need to get comfy. Once you find a spot that works for you, you could close your eyes and find that Buddha belly. Imagining that your face is letting go of whatever facial expression it's been holding so that you can let the muscles and connective tissues of your face begin to rest. As you unfurl your brow, as you unclench your jaw, as your shoulders melt down away from your ears and your arms get heavy, and your body begins to breathe in a way that feels natural, gentle. We'll take a moment here of rest, and we'll be here for about a minute, after which I'll bring us back with the sound of my voice. And all you need to do in this time of rest is breathe. Slowly begin to deepen your breathing, drawing your awareness back towards your body from wherever it may have wandered. Honoring your body and your experience by starting to find whatever little movements your body is asking you for. There's no wrong way to move or be. Maybe some movement in your fingers or your toes. You could open and close your mouth or let your head turn from side to side. If you choose to, you could bring one hand over the other over your heart and lengthen up through your spine, taking a moment just for yourself to notice any changes in how you feel since the beginning of our practice together. If you want to, you could blink your eyes open and reach up to breathe in, and exhale your hands together towards the center of your chest. Peace and light from my heart to yours. Thank you all so much for sharing this time and this beautiful community with me. I'm going to come forward now and invite you to unmute if you'd like to share your experience or how you're feeling or any questions that you might have about our class today. So feel free to unmute if you have any thoughts you want to share or how you're feeling today or questions that you might have about the practice or anything like that. And be sure to hydrate after that class.
I don't know if you can hear me.
Hi, Jeannie, I can hear you.
Yeah, what I'm wondering is how can I watch this during the week? Because I wasn't quite as involved as I wanted to be today, and I'm sorry I wasn't, because I would
That's
like to
okay.
do it again. How do I do it again?
So on the GoGo YouTube channel, there are so many of the recorded classes. So there's a few that I taught, I think a couple months ago, and this class will be available. I think V just chatted. Let's see what she says. It'll be available in 3 to 4 weeks once they get it up on the channel. V, would it be possible to post the link to the YouTube channel in the chat so people can click on it?
Yeah, I would appreciate that very much. Thanks.
Yeah. V is amazing, and she'll probably post it in just a moment here. She's usually on top of everything. Great question, Jeannie. And Maureen, I think thanks. Maureen is in Ann Arbor. Welcome from Ann Arbor. She says she feels great. And then it looks like V just posted the link to the YouTube channel right there in the chat. So you can click on that. And if you subscribe, I think it'll send you like a little message every time there's a new class posted.
Got it. Thanks so much.
Yeah, for sure.
Hi.
Hi.
I was very stiff and tight at the beginning of class, and now I'm loose and relaxed.
That's so great to hear. Thanks for sharing, Susan. I feel the same way. I was pretty tight at the beginning as well. I'm glad to hear the class helped you.
Yeah.
Can you folks hear me? Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I'm Robert
sure
from
can,
Tucson,
Robert.
Arizona, and I was watching my CPAP
welcome.
equipment, and I had a huge spill of one of the waters when I was running water through it. It went all over the kitchen. So then I went to get the mop, and I knocked over a picture frame, and I have broken glass all over the place. So and 5 minutes after, I said, "Oh my God, I'm missing my class." So I got here and kind of in time to really enjoy this, and I just want to thank you because these little problems that we have are just like little speed bumps. You just got to go over them and continue moving forward. And I want to thank you for that because you got me very, very relaxed, and I'm not the least bit worried about them because they're not going anywhere. And want to tell you, you have a very engaging smile and a very calming voice, and I appreciate you taking the classes. So looking forward to the next one. The other thing too is I was gone for 3 months looking after my brother in Massachusetts when I first started doing all these classes online with GoGoGrandparent. And in the 3 months I was gone, some pigeons have moved into my balcony. But and fortunately, my understanding is that they don't carry the bird flu that.
No, just chickens.
Yeah, just chickens. And while we were meditating in a couple of the times during this class, I could hear them cooing away, and it was really neat. It was a really nice experience looking out at the mountains and hearing these birds while you're talking with your beautiful voice. So thank you for today.
And you're so welcome.
Ready to start hopefully a nice weekend.
Yeah, I agree. Happy Friday, Robert. Thanks for sharing that.
You
I
bet.
think we might have some avian love in this class because I have a family of grackles that moved into my porch and their babies just
Oh,
came out of their little eggs. And so it's like real, I don't know if you guys
oh,
can hear it
beautiful.
during the class, but it's like a whole cacophony of bird sounds. So maybe we all have some bird love going on in this yoga group. Let's see. We have another message. Oh, somebody says thanks. Yay. You're so welcome. We got some claps from Margaret. Thanks, Margaret. Yay. Happy Pie Day. It's my son's birthday. Uh, so we make him pies every year. Norman, Oklahoma. Ross says Happy Pie Day. Amazing. Well, thank y'all so much for being here today. This is always such a joy and honor to get to join y'all whenever I can. So just have a wonderful weekend, everybody. Go eat some pie, and I'll see you when I see you.